Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gains with Gabe, where you gain knowledge with me, Gabe. All right, this episode of panels, we're going to talk about a horizontally extruded panel. The most common case is like a parapet. So here's an example of a couple of parapet conditions. And I'll show you how to model this in Revit. So the first thing you do is we need to have the shape of the profile. It comes from the Jumpstart package. It can be a typical parapet shape, whatever you want to use to define your profile. We actually need that to be used in AutoCAD. I want to take this. I'm just going to copy it over here on the side. And this is kind of the outline I would need to reference in Revit. So let me show you what the family actually looks like. So this is the one on the server by default. This typically looks like most common parapet case, which if you look at the AutoCAD file, it's going to be this case here. And this panel with a little return, and that's what you see in the template. So that's what this is. But like I said, you need a case where it's a little bit different. Say it's something like this. We need to get the shape of it first, and then we can import it into Revit. So I'm going to show you how to do that and where everything is located. All right. So if you know you need a parapet family, I'm going to show you where to go. All right. So let me go ahead and close that. So here's my project. I'm going to need a parapet. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Open, Family. I'm going to go to, again, to the S drive, ACAD, Revit, WW Standard Library, Panels. You're going to click on this panel, horizontally extruded. You're going to open it, but you cannot modify it. You can't overwrite it. It's read only. So what you're going to do is you want to go to the left side. You're going to see that shape. All right. So once you have that on the left side, you are going to need to kind of take a look at the profile of this. So it's a little different from the AutoCAD one. First thing you notice, it doesn't have this return leg because like in previous videos, you don't need the return if it's 1 inch or if it's touching the cock joint. So in this case, this is touching the cock joint, so I don't need that return. That's basically the same with ours. So in our case, this is going to go down to here, this point. That's where we would need to reference ours. So it would come across here. So what I want to do, I want to take out this return here. Delete that. Delete the hash. I don't need the hash. Delete this. And delete this. So I'm going to just make this one loop like that. So it's going to be just like that. That's a key point to make sure that you don't have those in your file. So that's how this is modeled. And then another thing you'll notice is it doesn't have any radiuses. I'm going to take all those radiuses out. We don't need them. They don't come in the takeoff correctly. So we're going to actually take all those out. Actually, I'm missing one here because this also has a return. I'm going to actually trim that on this side as well. So line. If you're a better AutoCAD user than me, I'm sure you have an easier way of doing this. I'm not a pro, so this is my method. There you go. So there's your panel shape, which it will be. So now you need to remove the radiuses. We have the sharpened polyline, removes arcs from polylines. I'm gonna specify the radius. Let's just go quarter. Select it. Bam. Takes out those radiuses for you. So it should be one straight with straight edges. All right. So that's kind of my shape that I like to get started in AutoCAD first. Make sure it's good to go. Make sure all the bends are out. Make sure it's all no radiuses. What I like to do is I like to copy that, and I like to make a new AutoCAD file. Any of this stuff, but if I go to my model space, I can paste it right at that 0, location so that it comes into Revit at that point. I'm just going to save this real quick. That's drawing. Put it in my test folder. You can call it parapet, whatever you want to name. So this is my file. I'm going to reference in Revit. So once I have that, I can come into the panel horizontally extruded that I opened up. I'm just going to do the same thing. File, save as, family. I'm going to put this somewhere. So I'm going to put this on my desktop. 10 panels. I'm going to call it the same thing. Parapet 2, whatever you want to call it. Call it your project name. It's just going to be unique to your project. Let's hit save. All right, and now I'm going to go to Insert, Import CAD. Select that parapet 2 that I made. Hit this current view only. That way it only comes in this left view. And I want to change it to black and white. And you can just do all the visible layers. Let's hit open. You can see that my shape is in here now. It's a DWG underlay. And what I need to do, now I need to change the shape of this to match this. So if I go ahead and click on the extrusion, hit edit sweep, and I click on that again and hit edit profile, you can see that I have this shape here. So what I want to do, instead of having this, you can either align the lines, or what I like to do, just delete it and use the pick lines, and then just hover over this and hit tab, and it selects all of them. Don't need to lock anything because you're going to end up deleting that DWG anyway. Hit the check mark again. There you go. So that's my sweep. Hide that. And then I just want to unpin and delete that DWG. Now I just have one shape. I go to my 3D view, you can see that shape. And then just to make sure everything works, I'm just going to go to my family types, and I'm going to play with the inside corner options and see that they work. So that's good to go. Same things with the outside corner. Those work, good to go. All right, so just make sure that those are unchecked by default. If they're not, they're going to come in checked by default into your project. One other thing we need to look for or change, sorry if you go to the left side, is this front of profile, back of profile, because this calculates miters. So we really just want to move this to the back. Oops. Side dimension. 7.5. So what you can do is just come in here. There you go. That my front profile and my backup profile are matching what that profile looks like. All right. So again, this has the joint parameters in there, material, and then outside, inside corners for the miters. Okay. So what we're going to do now is, let's go to your project. Go back to your project. And let's go ahead and put in that horizontally extruded one, and then we'll put in our panel that we made. So to put in the parapets, you're going to do the same thing you were doing with the other walls. Just create another wall out in space. Wall, let's just go like 10 feet. And then the height is not too critical, but what I like to do is I like to just match kind of a general idea of how big this shape is. It doesn't have to be accurate to the nearest whatever. It's just it lets you so that it's not a huge wall in your model. So 2.5. So I'm just going to make that. Again, it can be really any size. You're eventually going to change out the parapet and be 1 foot. It just lets you kind of control what that is. But essentially, what I want to do, I'm going to load in both of those, and I'll show you what they both look like. So let me just save this. I don't know if I saved it or not, but let me load in the horizontally extruded one first. So I go to Insert, Load Family. I'm going to do the horizontally extruded panel. Again, this is from the server, so this is the default one that I didn't change. Again, tab in, or sorry, let me do this the correct way. Edit type, duplicate, fit. Parapet. Hit OK. And I'm going to tab in, change this to the panel horizontally extruded. And you can see this is my typical parapet shape. So again, it has the correct colors, and it has the shape in there. And then if you do the corners, again, everything works similar to the panels that we were talking about. But let me actually take a look at my other parapet. Put my 3D view. One thing I forgot to check is the colors. So because I edited the profile, I need to make sure that I painted it, because it, for some reason, takes away the painted surfaces that I've done before. So I just need to make sure I go to Paint, and then I use this Take Off Ignore Faces. You're just gonna have a color party and paint the inside faces. I don't want those taken off. You don't need to worry about the edges here or here or here, because from the first video, if you have the panel Ignore Edge Faces, it ignores those. You do want to make sure you have this. I'm going to save that. Back to my project. And now I'm going to put a grid line. Again, this is just demonstration. You can make another wall. I just want to show you what this looks like. So if I go to Insert, Load Family, and I go to the location of my custom horizontally extruded panel, and I go to my parapet 2 that I just made, hit open. Now I can just tab into this one, switch this one out to my parapet 2. And there you go. You can see my 2 shapes. All right, and then again, this is a corner, tab in, outside corner right, cuts it for you. So that's that. Once I have those in, let me uncheck that miter. And I'll use the takeoff program, takeoff browser, refresh. Now I got some shapes. I got E1 and E. So let's check what these are at. So E1 is my parapet 2, or E, sorry. E1 is my other typical parapet condition. And if you hover, you can kind of see what each of them are. So this is a parapet with a 2 horizontal fold. That's E. And then E1 is a 3 fold. Because I have the little kink at the end for the little leg trip, that makes it a 3 fold panel. So it's an E1. If I add miters, typically in sales group, we won't add the miters because it adds another level of complexity to that, that data output. What we're going to do if you do a miter, and I refresh this, you can see it makes this extra shape P3 because this is no longer, a rectangle, so it has a miter cut in there. It finds those points, and that's what's used for when the panel team puts this into Inventor, draws them for them based on that shape. So again, sales team can just not have the miters for now. When we do the handoff to operations, we can go back and put those miters just so that we don't get this data. We can give the panel shape E, which is the more standard one, to the estimator. That's how you do it. You would open up the horizontally extruded panel, make sure you get this shape from AutoCAD. Again, a couple reminders: no return legs that are 1 inch or touching the caulking. Make sure you have your radiuses out. We want them to be sharp. And then once you're in Revit, you can insert that CAD file, and you want to make sure that you adjust the profile shape. You change the back profile. Again, this is used to calculate the miters, and then make sure that it's painted on the inside. All that will help you make a successful panel and be used within the panel team. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that video, and good luck modeling panels.